Hello everyone and welcome to another special publication with BC Voice with Lexi Brown. Today, we'll be going around and talking to students and faculty about their experience with breakout rooms. We're going to be going around and finding out the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's go. I'm here with the Leah Moon, a senior at Bridgewater College majoring in biology. So Leah, we're walking around talking to students and faculty, trying to get a better understanding of what your experiences has been with Zoom and breakout rooms.
Yes.
As we know, some people have good, bad, or good or bad. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience being in breakout rooms and how that's been?
Yeah, great question. So for me, breakout rooms have been all right. Actually, for class settings, it tends to be more tailored to if they've done the report or like read before class, then normally it'll go pretty well. But sometimes students, are busy, you know what I mean? So they can't get to it in time, so it's kind of silent. But you mainly just need like one person to speak up, and then that normally helps kind of with the flow of the conversation. As for like club settings, I feel that it's a lot easier because a lot of people choose to go to the club, so they really enjoy just like talking about it and really like being in the subject with the other students involved.
All right, awesome. I'm here with Dr. Jill Lassner, Associate Professor for the Department of Health and Human Sciences. So, Dr. Lassner, thank you for being here. We're going around and we're trying to get perspectives on what it's like for breakout rooms for students, and with you being an instructor and teaching virtual classes and hybrid classes, what is your take on breakout rooms? Do you think they're beneficial? How has your take been on it?
Yeah, I think that breakout rooms have some pros and cons. I do appreciate that we have technology that allows us to do more than just lecture. It does break up the class. And so for that, I like it. I think the disadvantage is once people go into breakout rooms, you don't really know what they're doing. I will say, though, that even in a traditional classroom setting, when you put students into small groups, you don't always know what every small group is doing either. So it's not 100% different, but it is very hard to check in, especially in the hybrid format. So if I'm teaching a class that's completely online, I can do more checking in with breakout rooms. If it's hybrid, that's hard. So that feels a little bit unpredictable.
I'm here with senior Avery Zhao, computer science major. So Avery, I want to know, we're getting student perspectives on what it's like to be in breakout rooms on Zoom. So what's your thought on it? Do you enjoy it, not enjoy it? What's your experience been?
Personally, I don't really enjoy it. I equate them to group projects. It's really just a roll of the die. You either really like it or you really don't. And it just sucks when you're in a breakout room and it's just all quiet people, At least for me, because I've just got a very take-charge personality. I don't like, waiting around for people to talk. So I'll be like, hey, you guys want to do this? And then it's just crickets. So it's really awkward.
Gotcha. So it seems like you're definitely the team leader in all the breakout rooms. You jump in, and if you don't talk, then there probably won't be talking, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, it's nice to get a professor's take on it, because I've gotten a lot of student take on it, and also like I have my own personal experience with it. So I'm just kind of wondering, have you heard any personal stories from like students and stuff on like what they've said? Do you have any bad stories or good stories from students themselves per se?
Yeah, I think that just like anytime you assign group work, which is essentially what a breakout room is, some students love it. They like the opportunity to stop listening to me and talk themselves. And in a group of 20 or 25 students in the full room, that's really hard to do. And so breakout rooms do allow more students to have an opportunity to talk and participate and actively engage in class. But there are equally as many students who don't want to do that and feel intimidated, especially with the camera element. Like you're looking at yourself while you're talking, which just feels weird and takes a lot of getting used to. So I certainly have had my own experiences going to join a breakout room, and I get to the room and everybody's on mute, just staring at each other. That's uncomfortable for everyone. But I've also had experiences, and I would say more so in my upper level classes, where I think students know each other better, they know me better, they're a little more engaged with the material because they're about to go out into the real world and use it, and so there's a lot to talk about. And so in those kinds of classes I have some really good experiences. with breakout rooms. So I think it depends on the dynamic of the class and what your goals are.
Yeah, I think for sure and for certain, yeah, it definitely depends on the class and the students. There are those who love to get in there and engage, and then others who are like, I don't really want to talk. But with you mentioning that you'll jump into a breakout room and then it'll be completely silent, how do you jump in there and approach that? You're like, hey, or I mean, how do you do it? I feel like it'd be so awkward.
It is awkward. I would love to hear what my students have to say about that. But yeah, even no matter what, it is weird to walk into a breakout room, right? In a regular classroom, when students are in groups, I walk around the room and they see me coming and they know that I'm about to interrupt, and it's so much more natural. In a breakout room, you just pop up and there's your head. So I do try and warn my students ahead of time that if I pop in, I just want to hear what you guys are talking about. So please finish your sentence, continue your thought, and then I might jump in if I have a question. But yeah, if I come in and nobody's talking, I try to be good-natured about that and just say, hey, guys. So tell me where you are in the process. I say that a lot. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me where you are. I also am pretty intentional about always giving my students some kind of written accountability for what they do in breakout rooms. So there should be some product that they can show. And that is not always the best solution, because I would rather them spend time discussing than writing. But without that writing, it's really hard for me to know how far along people are in the process and what they've been talking about. And so that's probably one of the downsides where, you know, you have to kind of merge those two, and that's not always seamless.
I'm here with Kimmy Wild, a senior majoring in health and exercise science at Bridgewater College. So Kimmy, we're going around getting student perspectives on what it's been like to do breakout rooms on Zoom. Now I know you have been virtual for the fall semester this year, but you are now in person for the spring semester. So can you touch on what your experience was like being all virtual the first semester with breakout rooms, and then kind of how it's been now?
Yeah, so my experience in the fall, it was a little bit hard. You know, going completely virtual, it's very different from being in a classroom. My experience with breakout rooms, I have seen both sides. The bad sides have been students will have technical issues, some people have trouble getting into the room, and then when that happens, sometimes students will will just stop and decide that they're not going to do anything. Participation definitely does lack when you are at home and you're completely virtual. A lot of that stems from not being able to interact with the students and not have like a professor there to watch over you and like encourage you to participate more. But my good experience has been here while I've been in person, and with that I actually got to Zoom in with people from home, and that is nice because I didn't feel included when I was home, and the professor who made us Zoom in, we got our laptops out, we talked to people that were at home. And honestly, it just depends on the class too, and it depends on the students. Some classes are really great, you have great discussions, other classes you just don't have anything, and yeah.
All right, and have you had an experience where you've just been to a breakout room where it's been completely silent?
Yes, there was one instance, and it was 15 minutes of complete, total silence. The people decided that they weren't going to say anything. One of the students couldn't even get on to the breakout room, and that was an awful experience. It was terrible. We were supposed to be doing a group project, that placed a lot of stress on me, and like the professor was like, well, I can't do anything about it, you know, they're at home, I can't tell them they have to do it, and it was very discouraging for sure.
Wow, 15 minutes of silence, that is crazy. I can't believe that's a thing. But good news is that now you're in person, you seem to be having a better experience.
Yes.
Which is good. All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today, Kimmy, and sharing your experience. We really appreciate it, and we hope you never have to deal with a 15-minute silence breakout room again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimmy. Now, class, do you have any personal stories of like when a breakout room has just been bad? Like
tanked. Yeah. I did have one in class. Again, one where like no one really read the assignment type thing, and we all just kind of got there, and we were just looking. We just kind of just stared at each other. But you know, I tried to like spark something up that was more like a general type question, so that we could try to talk about something. So yeah, a little awkward, but it managed.
You made it through. All right. So then that kind of leads me to asking, do you think that breakout rooms tend to be like less engaging if students don't do the assignment or the reading or whatever it is? Do you think that is what plays a role in it going well or not well, or do you think it just kind of depends on the vibe of like the Zoom breakout room, like just being in a breakout room is awkward and therefore nobody wants to talk? What's your take on it?
Yeah, so I do think that it does depend a lot if someone has already read for the class, but also some people are more like reserved and aren't as comfortable speaking in a setting like that. So that can also play a big part into whether or not they want to talk.
All right, cool. And then I want to leave it off on a good note. So what has been a good experience with breakout rooms for you?
Yeah, good experiences when I see my friends. Shout out to all of you. When they pop up on the screen, I'm like, hey. So that's always a blessing and so much fun.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us, Leah. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Gotcha. Well, have you ever had at least a good experience, a decent one, or say they've all been just thumbs down?
You know, there's a few diamonds in the rough in there. You know, I've had a few good experiences here and there. When they're good, they're great. You know, so it's like I said, group projects. You either really hate them or you love them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, for the future, with the college being completely not virtual next year, do you think it'll be better for engagement? Hopefully, what do you think?
I think it'll be better for engagement personally, because then you'll be like face to face with someone and they'll like stare you down until you talk kind of deal. Or maybe you just won't feel as awkward, because it is awkward talking to a camera and everyone else turns off their camera, so it's just you and your pretty face, you know?
Yeah. I just love when I have to look at myself.
Yes.
Well, awesome. Thank you for sharing your perspective with us, Avery. We really appreciate it, and hopefully, fingers crossed for the future of breakout rooms, you know?
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. Bye, America.
But thank you for sharing with us your take on it. It's nice to get a professor take, but hopefully with next year being completely offline, we can get back to normal and you can walk around back to the groups and you jump in and say hey.
I am definitely ready to be done with breakout rooms. I appreciate them for what they are, but they're not the ideal.
It's been an experience, it sounds like.
It has. We've all learned something, right? Whether it's what we thought we would learn this semester, maybe not, but something for sure.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for giving us your share on it. We appreciate you for being here.
Happy to.
And it was nice to have a professor take on it.
Well, I'm happy I could help.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lassner. Welcome. Thank you for watching this week's special publication. For more content on breakout rooms, check out Leah Moon's piece on Were You Silent or Were You Silenced? And for more content, go to bcvoice.org. Once again, this has been Lexi Brown, bringing you all the news, all the time.